Hey everyone, good evening. Welcome to yet another session. So we have a long weekend ahead, right? So I think we have 3 days holidays. I don't expect many of you to join, but yeah, for people who have been regularly joining, I think they can watch the video tomorrow morning as well or during the weekend. But yeah, long weekend, and I think we have many long weekends this month. So I hope I think this month and probably I think this and next month combined together, at least there are 2 or 3 more long weekends. So I hope you're planning to go somewhere and having a good. I hope you spend some time, off markets and off work. It's really important to take some time off, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not available next week, because I'm also taking off some time so that I'm away from markets at least for a week or so. Um, Otherwise, what's your plans for weekend? There are a lot of videos which are planned, at least from my side. So we might post a couple of videos, and hopefully you might enjoy that. And how many of you did watch the video today that we posted? So if you enjoyed the video that I posted, then just do let me know in the comments. And if you have any thoughts regarding the stocks that we discussed, also do let me know in the comments. I'd love to have a discussion on that today if time permits, and we can also discuss a lot of other things as well, right? So we already have one suggestion from Vijay to focus on CC scan output and analyze the stocks rather than some random ones. It'll be more process oriented. I had the same thoughts. I'd love to do that. I have the scan already open. So if you see, I already have the scan open. I just need to, probably, see if we have any stock queries and then probably discuss these. Now, remember, I have a lot of things in my scanner, but I don't really focus on all of them. I'm very honest, and we found all our stocks through CCI. So just don't get, some people might think he has a lot of other things and he's not telling us. There's nothing like that. I am always open, and we can discuss all these things. Okay. So how was the video? And we'll have a few more videos, and this week's newsletter also probably. I'm not sure if I'd be able to do it, but tomorrow, if I get the time to do the newsletter, then I'll probably do it and share it over the weekend. But if I don't, I'll let you know. It's just a little bit tight this week, and next week newsletter would not be there. And also, as I already said, next week's live session will also not be there. So I'm sorry for that, but 1 week, let's give it off. But in that 1 week, I want you to do is go through all the probably videos that we've done till now, and try to analyze the stocks from your perspective, and probably post them on Twitter so that I can respond to your charts, and I can probably give my views on your charts that you're requesting for. But yeah, we can do that, and hopefully that will be helpful for many of others also. And probably let's do that. So if you have any questions on anything, any strategy and all that, so we can focus on that as well. Okay. So good evening to everyone. I see a lot of people have joined. Around 17 people we have. Hey Shankar, hey Prakash, hey Tavita, hi Dinesh, Sagar, hi Hemant, hi Arun. So good, let's start. So already 3 minutes passed, right? So Nifty again, so this is the weekend, so we always review the weekly charts along with the daily charts and along with the other normal things that we do. Okay, so I have the portfolio open. Nifty, so Nifty again today, kind of had a sideways day, inside bar kind of a day, but it did end up positive, right? So in spite of expiry, there was not much volatility. It did end up positive, and yeah, it's a very tiny candle. That's because of the last 3 days, markets did not go anywhere. You see, we had 4 days and markets did not go anywhere. And that's a very tiny candle that we've had, and probably it's a pause, or I'm not sure what. So right, but for now the markets does not look weak at all. The markets, as I said, last 2 days we had wicks, demand wicks. So these are called demand wicks, or which signifies that there is a lot of demand when the market goes down, and probably there's not much sellers, and the buyers are able to get the market back even though there was sell off during the day. All right, so the markets are good. You see all those demand wicks everywhere. So a lot of demand wicks still, since we have been since that March COVID crash, you would see a lot of demand wicks everywhere. So markets are still ripe. I still think that we might head again higher starting next week. All we need to do is probably don't break below 1759, and then we might head higher. Okay, just switching to the hourly charts just to show you some trend lines. We did look at many things, but this is the main trend line that we are looking at, right? So you can connect the bottom of this wick probably if you want to, and you can just drag it. So what I think is happening is, right, so this is just a prediction. We don't know exactly what's going to happen, but what I feel is we might go sideways, for a few more days. So probably we are forming, just a minor dip like that, and we're going like that. So that's probably what's happening. And this is an arc, you might call it an arc, whatever, but this is a typical arc pattern. And we might probably go, dip probably once more to that lows, and then we probably go back, and then we head higher. So that's something which can happen in the next many days. But for now, until this main trend line is broken, I don't think a short-term trend would be down. Okay, so as I posted this chart last week as well. We've been just having short consolidations every time before we head higher, right? So every time there's been a short consolidation, and then we break out and head higher. So the same thing is happening here as well. So probably this also is, kind of a rectangle pattern. We don't have much touch points down, but this is also probably rectangle pattern, which is consolidating. Unless we don't break this trend line and don't go below, this swing low. This is the previous swing low. Unless we don't go below 17,000, I think we are still good, and we might head higher from here. Okay, so that's the outlook for Nifty. And let's look at the daily charts, sorry, 5-minute charts, to see where are we, right? So remember I spoke about an HNS pattern yesterday, right? So that was the HNS pattern I spoke about yesterday. Now, so this was probably left shoulder, that's what I said, and this is the head I said, and probably this is now the right shoulder which is forming, right? Now, for now, we not closed very well. In fact, we closed a little bit lower than what I expected, but probably we might gap up on Monday, or we might come down again. Right now, also yesterday I said that, so this was the 9th of September, and yesterday I said any dip, right? So we had a 1-way move up, and we said the short-term trend is also up, right? So I said any gap down towards levels of this low can be bought into. Now you could have done that probably, in the very first 5 minutes, or probably waited for some time, or you could have also just gone simply, long above this high over here. So you've gone long with the stop loss at the point, and your stop loss would have probably been hit here. Or if you're smart enough, and if you knew swing high, swing low, you'd have got out at this point here, right? Because that was a rise up. So you could have gone long here when we had this, symmetrical triangle breakout. Not a perfect one, but that's a symmetrical triangle breakout. And then you could have probably gone long here, even above 17,340, and then you'd have got stopped out at 17,336. So that could be a 5-point stop loss, or 5-point stop, loss, and you could have got out when we broke out below this low, right? And then again, if you see here, we have again started forming low, high, low, lows, right? And then again, this point was when we again crossed and went higher, right? So again, there was opportunity, but here not much points. So that's the day today. It wasn't really profitable, and there are days like this. I've always kept telling, if you're an intraday trader, it's very difficult. You need to have different kind of skill set. It's not easy to do intraday, and you need to really be on your toes and know what's happening. Okay, so yeah, so that's kind of the day we had, literally a rectangle, consolidation which is happening right now, right? So unless we don't go below this low, I don't see a problem yet. So it's a perfect rectangle consolidation. And now Monday we either gap up, so you go long if you go above 17,380 levels. So above 17,380, you can go long, and you go short below 17,300 levels. Until that doesn't happen, you can probably short the calls here and short the puts here, probably. That's some of the strategies. I'm not an option expert, as always I say, so it's up to you how you want to trade. But for now, I think the pattern is very clear, right? It's an inverted head and shoulders. In fact, this right shoulder is becoming a complicated shoulder. You can also call this a cup and handle. So this is a cup, and probably this is a handle, but the handle is too steep in this case, too wide, right? So I prefer to keep it as inverted head and shoulders. The only thing is this size and this size is not perfect, but it's not mentioned anywhere in the books that it has to be perfect. Okay, so that's the plan for the weekend. Sorry, for the next week, for Monday. Now let's look at a trade with an investor portfolio. So again, a decent day, 0.8% return. So we're up almost 12%, right? And LXCHEM is up 50%. TATALXSI has finally crossed the 10% barrier, so we have around 11% up. Cummins is again 6%, and Fortis is not moving much, right? So Fortis is one stock which is not going anywhere. So for now, I'm not doing anything on that. Okay, so just let's look at the stocks. So LXCHEM. So again, we had a gap up and a doji, right? So yesterday I gave you a strategy. Like, I'm not sure how many of you added today, but if you're an aggressive investor, probably you could have added some, some stocks on the gap up today, and trail your stop loss to 475 or even 496. Now, if you see, I've trailed it to 496 here, right? So that's not very aggressive, but The reason I've done it is because today we had a gap up and this was a swing low, right? So 496 is our stop for Lakshmi Chem. And if you see now, we have locked in 10,000 rupees profit, which is more than 10% of a portfolio, 10% of a portfolio. And right now our position size is very good, around 36% position size. And this, if it keeps going higher, this can really compound even faster. Right now, as of today, the current RR is 11 RR, right? So we risked 1 rupee and we have gained 11 rupees on the Lakshmi Chem trade. And this covers more than what we have lost till now. So right now we had a minus 5 RR, so which means we'll be in plus 5 RR once you book this, and we'll be in profit of 7,000 rupees. And also, if you see, our portfolio heat is now 8.5%, right? Which means even if our stops hit today, we'll be up 8.5%. Now that's a brilliant return for someone who's following, a breakout system and who's been trading just for 2 months. If you're especially a beginner, this is some returns that you have to really commend yourself. So if you've been able to follow me and make this return in the last 2 months, so last 2 months has not been easy, like the previous year. From last July to December, we had a fantastic year, and literally every stock kept moving up. Now that's not the case anymore. There are very selective stocks which are going up. Not every stock is moving up, so you need to be really selective in the stocks that you choose and how you ride the trend, right? So that's something that you have to learn. And if you have done that really well till now with me, then I'd really, pat yourself. You should pat yourself on your back. Okay. So Fortis, the stops is still at 269. We are kind of trending sideways on the daily chart. Again, it's been sideways. On the weekly chart, we're forming 2 weeks we have been down, but this week, that shows that there is demand at the bottom. And as I always said, when you have a demand week like this, there is every chance that the stock can always come down back to 269 and then it can head higher. That's what the stock is doing now, and I'm sure the volumes are not that much in the last 2 weeks. It should be lower, right? So it's lower volumes. So this is just a normal correction according to me, and it might probably go sideways for some more time. So unless a stop hits, I'm not really worried. For now, just keep it because other stocks are moving in a portfolio, so it's totally fine. So Cummins has managed to make a new high, a fresh 52-week high today, but it didn't close well. It closed around 1044 levels, but again the setup really looks good. In fact, we said this was a breakout here, right? We had a pivot pocket breakout here, and then we had a good day, and then we just been going sideways. Again, decent volumes today on the weekly chart, looks good, nothing to worry here, and we've just been forming higher lows on hourly charts as well, right? So you can, I've revised my stop loss to 1070, which is this low, because we have new high low here, and we kind of try to breach the previous high. So the stop loss for Cummins is now right now at 1015. Okay, so it's 2017. I moved to 1015 now, just to round it off to a decent number. Okay, even here we are up 1 RR, so it's a good trade going on. Moving to the next one is TATALXSI. TATALXSI, again is not doing much. It's been going sideways. On the weekly charts, we have again formed a doji. So dojis after dojis after dojis, but we are forming every low here is a higher low, right? Even the higher is every week we are forming new high. So the strength is disappearing in this. It's not able to go higher. That could be because of the IT index, probably. I'm not sure. But last 2 weeks looks like a pause, and that's why our stop loss is right now around 4,700 odd, I think. Yeah, around here, and we'll continue to keep it, right? So it's 4750. You can also keep it to 4750. Okay, let's round it off to 4750, which is the low, right? So that brings us to 8.8% overall profits locked in. Okay, so that's how it is. So Lakshmi Chem also, I think we didn't check the weekly chart. The weekly chart looks good, right? The only thing is the volumes. So volumes have not been great. I think that's because we had almost 4 days sideways, and we just had 1 day, rest all the days by dojis or sideways days. Okay, so that's how it is. Okay, so I think we are good with Trade with Trendline Investor. We're up 8.8%. So who has been trading with me, you're in profits. And I hope you've learned something till now, and I hope you've been able to understand how you manage risk and understand how to do positional trading and how to ride a trend, right? That's more important, how to ride trends. Okay, so yes, so let's look at some of the questions. Strategy questions first, as usual. Will there be Telegram updates for stocks, Dinesh? Yes, I will post Telegram updates for your stocks every day, and if there's no update, which means there's no change. And I think by now most of you would be knowing, or you would understand how I do it. So also you can keep the group updated and probably have a chat in the group, and that will help others as well. Okay, Okay, so let's look at any other questions. Okay, so yeah, I think very few questions today because we're just 100 people, so I'm going to cover all of them. So probably let's take Vijay. We'll come to the CCA scanner quickly. Once we have time, I'll probably take extra 10 minutes today. I'm going to look at the scanner, but let's look at other questions. Why using CCA 34 on weekly basis only to scan stocks and not any other? Why only using CCA and not crossover of 200 or any other scanners? See, Darshit, see all the technical indicators either tell you two things: uptrend or downtrend. Okay, so all you want to know is whether a stock is an uptrend or downtrend. Now, for this, all you need to have is just one indicator, right? So there are momentum indicators. The moving averages are good indicators. The moving averages have a lot of lagging. They lag a lot, and so once a stock is about 200 EMA, according to the moving average, they're always going to stay about 200 moving average. Like since the last COVID crash, every stock has been almost 90% of stocks have been about 200-day moving average. So once it's about 200-day moving average, I don't think there's a use using that again. All you know is if a stock is an uptrend, you know that 200-day moving average or any moving average for that matter is going to be in an uptrend. So CCI, the reason why I use CCI is when the momentum drops, the CCI drops as well. Now you might say even moving averages drop. Moving averages really don't drop. Maybe the short-term moving averages do drop, but long-term moving averages will not drop that easily. So I use CCI because I'm more comfortable with CCI. You can use MACD, you can use RSI, but all you need is just one indicator to scan stocks. Don't get into too many things. I know people use a combination of RSI, combination of 52-week high, combination of volume. All that is not required. Keep your scanner simple. Keep it to CCI or keep it to whatever you like, and go through the stocks daily and try to understand what the stock is trying to tell you. And the moment you have the stocks, all you need is just keep checking, and it takes hardly a few seconds to check every stock. Okay, it's as simple as that. And yeah, there are a lot of other technical indicators, and that's the biggest problem in markets, right? So everyone wants to find the perfect indicator, but there is no perfect indicator as markets. Like there is no secret sauce. It is you who is the secret sauce, right? I'm sure you watched Kung Fu Panda. It's no one else. It's you who is the secret sauce. You need to find which setup you're more comfortable with. The scanners will only help you filter stocks. Okay, now from there, how you want to filter is up to you, and that comes with experience. No one can teach you that. Okay, so I've seen people saying this is a holy grail scanner, it gives you the best stocks. No, even you can go and ask anyone if there's a stock which will give you exactly 5 stocks, and those 5 stocks you can directly go and invest. There's not a single indicator which will do that, especially in a bull market. It's the most difficult thing to find stocks, and that's why I go with horizontal pattern which have multiple touch points, or trend lines which have multiple touch points, or long-term breakouts, which is one of my favorite patterns. So indicators are just will help you find an area, and from that area you need to find your stocks. Okay, so you need to practice. Okay, Jake says thanks a lot for doing this. I've made about 2 lakhs. That's really good money, Jake. Based on some of your recommendations, I wanted to add a couple of wildcards on portfolio. Would you recommend AVT and Trident? Yes. Before that, we have Arun asking about MSTC and Jubilant Ingravia. Let's look at that. So MSTC, I think we covered this some time back. Sorry, just a minute. Let's get this. Yeah. So I think we covered this some time back, and this was close to the weekly support, and it's a perfect reversal. All it needs to is close about 323.35, and then we can see a new move up. But the chart looks really good. I think it was also probably a trend line reversal. Yeah, not a perfect trend line reversal. Probably on this scale. Yeah, not here as well. Okay. So yeah, this also looks good. So the stop loss for this should be around 240 odd, and you can go in right now. It's a little up already. So I suggest you take your time and try to find a proper entry point. According to the rules I said yesterday, you see this is not a perfect entry point. No, a setup for me, a perfect entry point would be something like this, right? So here at this point, right? So that's a perfect entry point because the risk there is the previous swing low is very low. Okay, so try to find such setups, and then invest. Don't just add or this setup here, right? It's a perfect setup to break out, or the setup like CDSL that we saw. Okay, there are many such things. Okay, so it's looking good. You just need to find a good time to invest in that, meaning a good price to invest in that. So Jubilant Ingravia is looking good. It is right at the trend line support. This has been one of the favorite stocks. I also recommend the newsletter. So it's just right on the trendline support. Probably it will reverse next week, and it just needs to go above, that point. So it's probably forming a nice VCP pattern. You can see that VCP pattern forming. And if you don't know what's a VCP pattern, this is a VCP pattern, right? So you first have a big drop and a rise, and then you have a small drop, right? So the drop still now is small. Now if it reverses, now that is a small drop compared to this drop, right? And then what probably will happen is we'll have one final drop which will be even small, and then we head higher. Now if that happens, then this is a perfect VCP pattern, and it could reward you really handsome, and probably this can even head higher, towards levels of 800, 900 odd levels. But for now the setup looks good. You just need to wait for reversal candle next week, and then you enter above the day's high. Okay, so let's look at Jake's question. AVT, Naturals, and Trident. Trident looks really good, Jake. So I've been following the stock since quite some time. It is a perfect textbook example of channel reversals. So if you see, every time it comes to channel, it reverses, and every time it goes on the top, it comes down, it goes sideways consolidation, sideways consolidation. So yeah, it's heading towards probably levels of 38, 40 levels. So probably towards the high end of channel, and the volumes are good. Everything looks good. You just need to ride the trend, and it looks fantastic. Okay, so for this, the stop loss is still a little deep. That's the only problem I have if you're taking a fresh entry. If you're already holding the stock, then it's a perfect setup. Continue to hold them, but if you want fresh entry, then probably aggressive traders can keep a stop around 23, which is this low. Okay, otherwise your stop is a little deep. Okay, AVT Naturals, let's look at that. Oh, this is a brilliant setup, right? So this is the setup I'm talking about, low risk setups. Now basically, if you see here, we have a nice trend line, and this trend line has broken out yesterday, and all we need to wait or keep GTD above this high, or even if you want to be a little safe, then just keep a GTD above today's high or yesterday's high. So a GTD about 79 or 80 would be perfect, with a very small stop, and this would probably head higher from here, and the setup looks brilliant. It's just facing resistance around that zone. Okay, it's a brilliant setup. Just looking at the long-term charts, yeah, on long-term also it's brilliant. It's been in a very long-term uptrend. You can go ahead. Others, HDFC AMC, I've covered in this video that I posted today. So please, you can also watch the video that I posted on YouTube. It's a brilliant setup. I've given an explanation on my YouTube video, but this has been a symmetrical triangle breakout here, and then we are forming a rounding bottom here. Right now, this is exactly which I just talked about a few minutes back. We are doing a similar kind of a breakout here. I think it has broken out. Volumes have been good this week, and we are headed higher from here onwards. So it looks good as well. Okay. Jackson. Yeah, it looks good. It says a perfect in uptrend, right? So it has broken out the previous pivot, so it's made a new high. So it looks good. It can head higher from here, Sagar. So yeah, the stop continues to be around 138. Yeah, it's a good entry, good one. Okay, and something we mentioned possible channel breakout in small cap index. How far or close we that? That's a good reminder. Let's look at small cap. We are not yet close there. We are right around that point, right? So next week could be crucial, right? So probably next week is going to be crucial. We're right around that point. If you see, right around that point. But remember, we made a new high today. So that's a really excellent thing that the markets have done. And we've made a one-way move up. So all looks good. For now, let's revise again. Probably again a few days later. Global Spirits is a fantastic stock. It's one of the strongest stocks that I know of. It's just been going higher and higher and higher. Stop loss at 1,000 rupees. It looks very good. It can go much higher. Okay. Dinesh, if you're doing SIP, then just keep doing SIP. I think keep a fixed stop loss, like probably 500 or something like that. Okay, let's look at the Airtel chart, right? Okay. Now for the entire position, what you should do is keep a stop loss around 584, right? Because you're doing a SIP, right? So keep a stop loss of 584, keep sipping, and the moment you have a monthly close below 584 or even a weekly close below 584 levels or 580 levels, then you can kind of exit stock. And if you want to be a little more conservative, then this should be a stop loss. This is a very strong support. So 500 stop loss, if you can manage that stop loss at 500, then it's a really good stop. So probably you'll be keep adding everything unless you don't go below 500, right? And this was a breakout that we had. So this is a nice cup and handle breakout. So I don't expect the stock to go below 580 levels. But in case it does go, then 500 is a very good this one, okay? But Bharti Airtel looks fantastic. It's showing strength day after day. I think the speed is just picking up, and this can go much higher very quickly. Okay. Marico looks good. In fact, we had a good move after retest today, Amarjit. So we had a breakout retest. So that was a breakout here, and we kind of had a trend line reversal today, and it looks fantastic. The setup is amazing. All you need is a stop loss. Right now is around 550 odd levels or 540 levels as well, and it can head much higher. The setup is brilliant, right? So if you're investing, probably this could be a stop on the weekly basis. If you see, we have a nice base here, right? So that could be a stop if you're investing. Marico looks good. Okay, PIX transmission. I think we covered this already. It's again a good stock. It just needs to break out from this level. The long-term uptrend is intact. It just needs some time before it heads higher. Okay, stop loss is 650 odd. Okay, you can't handle fake breakouts. You keep a stop loss. Yes, Malik. Keep a stop loss, and if stop losses, just get out. That's all. You can't handle really fake breakouts. There's no way to handle fake breakouts. If someone's telling you they can identify fake breakouts, it'll be probably only after the breakout has probably you hit the previous swing low, right? For example, today in Gravita, many people might say it's a fake breakout. I don't call it a fake breakout unless the previous swing low is broken. So unless this swing low around 175 is broken, I will not call this as a fake breakout. Okay, now many people today might say this is a bad bad signal, but I don't agree to that. You can also call it here, right? If you see this was probably a fake. Okay, let's take this candle probably here, right? So if you look at this, okay, we don't have an example. Okay, don't really have an example, but yeah, you can say this one, right? So if this was a breakout here, so this was a failed breakout, right? Many people would say this was a failed breakout because it went and closed high. But for me, it is not a failed breakout because the swing low did not break at all. So unless the swing low doesn't break, you can't really call it a failed breakout. Okay, it is just there's some selling pressure which will be absorbed, and then it'll take some more time before it heads higher. But eventually, this is the first sign that shows that the buyers are strong. The buyers do have some power to take the price higher, but the sellers were there, because of which it had a drop, right? And that selling gets absorbed, and then it moves higher. So there is no perfect way to identify fake breakouts. Just keep a stop loss at the previous swing low and then handle it. Okay. Arun, sorry, I am not going to answer more than 2 questions. So let's keep it to 2 questions going, 2 stocks going forward. I see you're posting too many stocks. We have a lot of other people also asking. So let's keep it to 2 stocks per session, and I would answer that. Okay. Yeah, Vijay, good indicators. Ashok is asking on Pidilite. Pidilite is a good stock, right? It has broken out from here, where a downtrend breakout, and it's just consolidating. It can head higher. It's looking really good. Can you average on Trident? I'd wait for a dip. I'll not add average before the dip. Okay. Arpit is saying Tatva Chintan. Arpit is you really have a good eye for charts, Arpit. I would say that. I saw your few charts you posted on Twitter. Yes, it's looking good. It's just forming a base probably. Okay, so I'm not sure which trend line would fit in here. Yeah, probably that's the trend line I'd be looking at. Now, unless this trend line is broken out, I would not be really interested in this. But as a low risk setup, what you can do is you can probably take a position right now with a stop around 2000, right? But that's a aggressive trade because you're still in a downtrend, right? We've still not broken out of the downtrend. It is forming a tight consolidation. It has broken out on the early charts. It has formed a new high on the early charts. Again, it has gone down. So I would probably consider this. If in case you want to, you can consider this. Keep a stop around 2000. Go for your first position right now, and then the second position you should be adding about 2100, right? So second position should be about this point. Okay, and then once you go above, keep making new higher highs, you add more, but the final breakout would be above this point. So unless we don't break out of this point, I don't see the trend really changing, because it can still keep going sideways, right? So that's a major swing high, and I need that to be taken out. Okay, so that's how I look at it. Amit is asking Greenply and RPG Life. Okay, green pie is in a downtrend. It's just forming lower high, lower lows. So it doesn't look good for me. So probably I'd wait for a higher high to form and then I'll probably enter this green pie. It doesn't really look good to me. RPG, life sciences, it looks fantastic. You can go ahead with this. It is also broken out from a big base and it can head higher from here. Okay, so the setup looks fantastic. Yeah, the stop is a bit deep, 470 odd, but if you're short-term trader, probably a stop can be in 550 odd. Okay, Phillips Carbon, PFC, Devabrata, again 2 stocks. I will not take more than 2 stocks. Just to keep it more fair, so that I answer everyone's question. So I'm not being mean. I'm sorry if it came across being mean, but yeah, there are a lot of questions, and if I can find that you asked more than 2 questions, then yeah, I just try to avoid that. So yes, again, it's a forming a nice setup. It just needs to cross above that high. It's again a decent setup, so just keep a GTT about 251 with a stop around 240. It could work out well, and the trend is still intact. It has come back above that previous swing low. It did break this previous swing low, but it has come back again, right? So the trend is still up, and I just probably keep a buy order about 253 or 255. Even if you're conservative, then 255 as well, with a stop around even 240 as a aggressive stop. Okay, so PFC looks good. It's just in a it's in a long-term downtrend. It's in a very long-term downtrend since 2010. It just needs to break out above to 140 odd level. So if it breaks out above 140, then we can have a really good move in PFC. Probably the first target is around 190 odd levels. Okay, so it has to break about 140. We need to wait. Yes, Adarsh, I analyze a lot of stocks, and that's my passion. Shende is asking on Schaeffler. Schaeffler also had a really good setup. We see this is a beautiful long-term setup. Now this shows that this company is a long-term story. Now whenever you see such long-term setups, and if you see a breakout happening somewhere, like for example, let's say you saw a breakout here, right? You could go in here, or you could go in here, right? Or you can go in right now, right? How Shende has entered at 2000 whatever levels. You entered around 27182. It's a perfect entry. I feel little late. 7000 could have been better entry. Your stop, we had a very good setup here, and that's a very good entry. Yeah, it looks good, Shende. It can go much higher. Okay, Arpit is saying he meant clean science. Okay, let's look at clean science. I'm sorry. Okay, clean science. It's out of downtrend, Arpit, that much I can tell you. So it is clearly out of downtrend. So the best entry point was here because we had multiple touch points, and it is also consolidating right now, right? So it's a nice consolidation here. So a low risk setup would mean you keep your buy stop. So if you see here, we had rejected twice, 1680, and here again 1678. So buy stop about 1680 with a stop around 1590 would be a good setup, would be a good trade. But this stop loss would be a little aggressive. So I'd probably, if you're a beginner in markets, then probably keep around 1400 as a stop, and then let it consolidate for some more time, and then you can probably more trail your stop loss. But for now, there's a high possibility this can come again all the way down and then head higher. Okay, but Arpit, yes, it's a good setup. Okay. Yes, Tatva is a double bottom breakout then, yes. Utkarsh, Tips versus Sarigama, which one do you think has least risk at the respective share price? Tips and Sarigama. Let's look at it. I think Tips has it, because Tips right now has kind of, it's kind of breaking out. This is probably an inverted head and shoulders pattern. The neckline is not very clean. There is a spike in the neckline, but I think today's close was very good. So if you want a low risk setup, then I think Tips definitely is a low risk setup. Your stop is very small, but if it's an upper circuit, so Monday you should get it on, it should be open, then you can get. So 1130 is the stop. Okay, the only problem I see in Tips is it's forming lower high, lower lows, but now it's broken out of that. Okay, so it's perfect. It's good. You can go ahead with Tips. I think Sarigama is not. Yeah, I saw this already. So Sarigama, the setup is here, right? The stop loss is a little deep. That's a 800 point stop. So it's more. The risk is a little higher. So I'd probably go for Tips rather than Sarigama. Okay. What is your view on SIP in a stock in a long time? I don't do SIPs. Malik, if that's your answer, I don't do SIPs. Okay, Arpit is saying let's look at 2-hour charts, or let's look at that. I'm not sure where you see the VCP, Arpit. Maybe you can share the chart on Twitter with me. I don't see a VCP yet. So probably let's discuss this on Twitter. DM me, Arpit, on Twitter. We can discuss this. Okay. Okay, so I think I've covered the questions. There's one question from Prakash. My learnings from 2010 to 16. See, one thing what I've learned is you have to. There's no one in the markets. There's no one who can help you. There's literally no one who can help you when it comes to trading. The reason being is the trading or investing journey is a journey that's controlled completely by you, right? So the entries, exit, everything is controlled by you. There's no one who comes and guides you. Whereas if you see in all aspects of life, there is always someone who's controlling you and telling you what is right, what is wrong. At your job, there's your boss. In your school, there's a teacher. At your home, there's your family, who always checks what you're doing. But in markets, so this is especially if you're trading and if you're doing intraday or positional trading, it's a completely, you're the only one who controls your account. There's no one else who controls your account. And you're the only one who takes the decision to enter or exit. So what you do is your mind keeps playing games. Every now and then you think that, your mind starts playing guessing games because there's money involved. And for you, the only objective for everyone is to make quick money. And that quick money is the biggest problem, because you think that every now and then your mind keeps telling you that you can make quick money, but the quick money is never there. Okay, even if you make quick money, let's say you traded something today, a stock which went 20%. Now when the stock hits 20%, you feel very proud of yourself and you try to find the next 20% stock, and that stock doesn't go up 20%, and then it starts dropping, and then you convince yourself that this stock will go up 20%, and you keep holding to it, right? So in the 2010 to 2016, whatever time frame is, the only thing I learned is every time I would go to the markets, I would deploy some money. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, but most of the times, when I make money, the money would be really small, but most of the times when I lose money, it'll be really decent money which I lose. Now that's the biggest learning I had, and for me, position sizing is the biggest culprit in markets. So just because you made loss in one stock, what you do is you try to build a bigger position in another stock, and you try to make that losses quickly, whereas that will never happen, right? Because the moment you build a big position size, you just need one trade for it to not go in your direction, and you will lose all the money that you made in the last many months. And this can happen, and this is happening. Go back today and you have the next 3 days, and please correct that mistake and try to place GTTs in system. Let the market decide when you have to enter and when you have to exit. Do not decide on your own. Keep GTTs and let the GTTs drive your system. Okay, and this is the only place where you should not be taking decisions on your own, and let the market take its own decision. So, right, in all other aspects of life, you can take decisions, you can do whatever you want, but here the decision should be based on what the market is telling you, not on what you are telling. And that's the biggest learning I've had. I've lost some really good money in Suzlon. I'm making a video on that. In fact, I have the Excel PPT is ready. I just need to make a video. It's a long, lengthy video. That's the reason why I keep postponing it. But I lost around 2.5 lakhs. Between 2013 to 2016, and one of the primary reason for that was I was doing my MBA in finance, and I had a lot of confidence in myself because I was performing really well, and I found all these positive things about Suzlon, and I invested my tuition fees, and I lost that money, and that's the biggest learning for me. But the good thing is, back in 2010 to 2016, I wasn't earning much, and I didn't lose much. So all the profits I made in the last 3-4 years has covered 4-5 times, or even probably 10 times the money that I've lost. So I don't really make those mistakes. Every now and then, sometimes I do make, but then it hits me back, and then I go back, and I go back to my normal trades. So even if you're a good trader, some points in life you might take those bad trades, but then it's how quick you realize and come back and trade properly again. So that's the biggest learning. I'll definitely make a video on Suzlon, and I also make a video on the common mistakes that people make, and it's only you and you. There's no one else in markets. No one can save you. Even if you go to the best trainer in the world, it's about your psychology, right? There's nothing else in markets. Okay, so I think I'll stop there. I think Vijay asked to go through the CCA stocks in the scanner. Vijay, I'm really sorry. I'm not sure if we have time for that. But I think, again, let's keep it to two stocks, guys. There are a lot of questions which keep coming every day. And, I try to complete in 30 minutes, but I always go beyond 30 minutes. It's just sometimes I feel bad not answering your questions, and that's also one of the reasons. But I think if we can keep ourselves disciplined with just posting 2 questions per person, I'd be more than happy to keep this session going on forever. I really enjoy talking about markets, and that's the reason why I do this. Okay. So yeah, one last talk on Affle. Someone is asking. So Affle has, so there was this trend line reversal at this point, right? So here, if you see, there was a trend line reversal. It was a breakdown, but then it reversed quickly. So it was a reversal, and then we've been going really nice till then. So the major resistance I see is this resistance. It's a weekly breakdown. So we might, take some time, consolidate. Don't enter right now. It will consolidate at some point because that's a major resistance. So probably in the next week it will consolidate, and then we might head higher again. Okay, so but from a downtrend perspective, the downtrend I feel is over. It might go sideways for some more time, but Affle looks good as well. If you want to enter, you can enter right now also. The stop loss is 4,400 levels. Okay, so that's it. I think I'll leave you here today. I really wish that you have a really good weekend, and next week, as I said, I'm not available, but if you have any questions, do post on Twitter. I'm available on my mobile. I'll answer your questions. And yeah, let's keep learning and let's keep trading well. As I said, it's you who can decide whether you will be a good trader or not. So go back to your, go back today and take this weekend and sit back and go through your trades, go through your PNL and see why you're not making money. And if you have not made, probably last year markets have gone up 100, more than 100%. If you're not made 100%, then you need to question yourself and ask yourself, why haven't you made 100%? Okay, so I think this psychology, I think that was a really good question that was asked by Prakash. I'll make a video on this, but this is the most important thing. Okay, so go back and let's come back again next week, with a really good mindset that we are here to trade for the long term. Short-term losses should not really trouble you, and even in your life, short-term troubles should not really trouble you, because in long term, humans are always, meant to come back strongly, and we are meant to fight, and we are meant to, make our lives good. And if you're not able to do that, then that's your problem, and there's no one else you can blame. And if you're blaming someone, stop doing that today and go back and probably, apologize to them. I know a lot of people vent your frustrations to your family because you're losing in markets, you've lost money, and a lot of people take loans. And I've known a friend who's taken a big loan to trade just because he saw that he was doing well. But stop doing all kind of things. That's not what we are here for. We are here to make decent money, 20% every year, compounded over a period of 30 years is more than enough to make you a good trader. And if you have the decent capital, 20% is more than enough for you to live a decent life. So I leave you here. I hope you have a really good week and weekend. And next week I'm off, as I said, and I'll see you again after that week. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, especially if they're losing traders. I think this last part of the video really would help a lot of people. So go back, and share this with your friends and ask them to subscribe to the channel, and do get in your friends. I know a couple of guys, you've brought in your friends here. I'm really happy for that. So take care, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.